Rex Bear leak project, the Hanford site, is a cover-up of unprecedented proportions, ladies and gentlemen. This is absurd. This is disgusting. This is wrong. And it's getting to the point now where when people leave comments in the comment section saying, oh, Rex, you're just a fearmonger. Oh, Rex, this is bullshit. There's nothing wrong at the Hanford nuclear site. I'm going to show you some pictures of babies that are born with half of their head after being exposed to nuclear radiation, okay? And then you leave a comment, and then good luck going to sleep after that when you leave a disgusting comment like you do. Now, I don't have all the answers. I'll tell you right now. Matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that I come up with is most of the stuff that I come up with outside of the information that I present to you, connecting dots. It's theory. It's hypothesis. It's questions. And if you don't question the status quo, good for you. I've got a beautiful timeshare for sale. I'll sell it to you for half price. You can get it to you at the dealership, okay? It's $50,000 at the dealership. I'll sell it to you for $25,000. It's only $1,000 a year for maintenance fees. You get a whole week a year at that resort if you're lucky enough to get in. Now, yes, you can buy that resort on eBay for $1, but you're so smart, you don't question the status quo. So maybe you should just go to the resort and buy it, because you buy everything else at the resort, don't you? You buy everything the news packages to you in a beautiful wrapping, beautiful bow tie on the top, beautiful gold bow tie. You open it up. Here it is, plutonium. I can eat it. It's good for me. Now, first of all, the fact that there is a tunnel that collapses around the Hanford nuclear site is unprecedented. That should not happen. Do you realize the Hanford nuclear site extracted thousands and thousands of pounds of uranium and plutonium, and the majority of the plutonium bombs and missiles and weapons out there, the plutonium was extracted from the Hanford nuclear site in Washington state. Now, I'm going to share some images with you. I'm also going to read to you what the Hanford site actually is. And then I'm going to share with you some information and pictures showing how, because the military loves us and the world so much, oh, well, you know, they fed cows radioactive feed just to see what would happen to their thyroids. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, as you can see here, here's an old school picture of the site. Let me read this to you real quick. The Hanford site is mostly decommissioned nuclear production complex operated by the United States federal government on the Columbia River. On the Columbia River. In the U.S., in the state of Washington, the site has been known by many names: Hanford Project, Hanford Works, Hanford Engineer Works. The site was home to the B reactor, the first full-scale plutonium production reactor in the world. Plutonium manufactured at the site was used in the first nuclear bomb. Tested at the Trinity site, Fat Man, the bomb detonated over Nagasaki, Japan. During the Cold War, the project expanded to include 9 nuclear reactors and 5 large plutonium processing complexes, which produced plutonium for most of the more than 60,000 weapons built for the U.S. nuclear arsenal. Nuclear technology developed rapidly during this period, and Hanford scientists produced major technological achievements of death. Many early safety procedures and waste disposal practices were inadequate. Oh, you don't say, like dumping thousands of pounds into the Columbia River? Government documents have confirmed that Hanford's operations released significant amounts of radioactive material into the air and the Columbia River. I have a friend that fishes off of the Columbia River. The weapons production reactors were decommissioned at the end of the Cold War. For decades, manufacturing left behind 53 million U.S. gallons. Sorry, I'm a little frustrated here. 53 million U.S. gallons of high-level radioactive waste stored within 177 storage tanks, an additional 25 million cubic feet of solid radioactive waste, and 200 square miles of contaminated groundwater beneath the site. Well, once the water beneath the site gets contaminated, you don't think that hooks up to aquifers around the world? Oh, I should just keep my cool about this. Yeah, you're right. And then in other news, Bob, my 600-pound life is on in 30 minutes. You want another Twinkie and diet soda? Yeah, and while you're at it, can you shoot me up with the flu vaccine and give me some more lithium pills? The doctor recommended because I was a little stressed out. I'm just... Okay, 200 square miles of contaminated groundwater beneath the site. In 2011, the federal agency charged with overseeing the site, the U.S. Department of Energy, emptied 149 single-shell tanks by pumping nearly all the liquid waste out into 28 newer double-shell tanks. The DOE later found water intruding into at least 14 single-shell tanks, and that one of them had been leaking about 640 U.S. gallons per year into the ground since about 2010. But no big deal. We've got reality TV on. In 2012, the DOE discovered a leak also from a double-shell tank caused by construction flaws and corrosion in the bottom. And the 12 double-shell tanks have similar construction flaws. Since then, the DOE changed to monitoring single-shell tanks monthly. Oh, now they keep track of it monthly. How nice of them. Thank you, guys. We could tell you really care. In 2007, the Hanford site represented 2/3 of the nation's high-level radioactive waste by volume. Hanford is currently the most contaminated nuclear site in the United States and is the focus on the nation's largest environmental cleanup. Oh, well, whoop-diddy-do. On November 10, 2015, it was designated as part of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park alongside other sites in the Oak Ridge and Los Alamos. Isn't there a place in Australia that was renamed Oak Ridge after the British did a bunch of nuclear testing? I just did a podcast on that the other day. What's the name with Oak Ridge? They go blow something up, they call it Oak Ridge as long as they leave some plutonium on the ground. Is that the deal? What god are they worshiping there? The Hanford site occupies 586 square miles, roughly equivalent to half of the total area of Rhode Island. This land is closed to the general public. It is a desert environment. The original site was 670 square miles and included buffer areas across the river in Grant and Franklin counties. Now, another thing that I noticed is here, let me share this with you. Here's the map. As you can see right here, there's multiple facilities right off the river that connects to the Columbia. A main food source, water source, a main artery of our country. Here's the old high school. Here's what it looks like in construction in 1944 when they were constructing the reactor. Here you can see the fuel rods. That's a sight to be seen. Wait till you see this. Oh, that's when they decommissioned the D reactor. There's multiple reactors, ladies and gentlemen, on that site. So when somebody says it's no big deal that a 20-foot tunnel collapses, oh, it's no big deal. We'll just fill it up with dirt, man. You're a conspiracy theorist, dude. You're definitely a good little sheep. This guy left a comment in the comment section saying, oh, you're full of shit. I work there. So essentially is what he said. So I write back, oh yeah? Where do you work? What do you do? And he writes back, oh, I work for a contractor out there. They even do national tours. Yeah, you guys want to go take a tour out there and suck in some plutonium? Hey, if you're pregnant, you should go there after you get your flu shot. There's the Columbia River, where radioactivity was released from 1944 to 1971 and probably still is. Enormous amounts of radioactivity, guys. Oh, but look. Salmon are okay. They look okay. They glow in the freaking dark. Oh, another image of a surface of waste found inside a double-shell tank at the Hanford site. These are spent fuel rods stored underwater and they're uncapped. Look at that. Uncapped, spent fuel rods underwater. Wow. And you call me a conspiracy theorist. This is absurd. Here's one of the cooling water retention basins at the F reactor back in the day. Here's some more tanks. 177 waste storage tanks. Here's inside of one of the waste storage tanks. How would you like to take a swim in there? Anybody that says, oh, radiation's good for you, This one guy used to eat it all the time. He died of throat cancer, by the way. Why don't you go swim in one of these reactors then? And tell me how you feel afterwards. Here's the Purex facility this guy was bragging about. How there's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, folks. What's the shelf life on plutonium? Like 800 million years? A billion years? What's the shelf life? Here, let me just double check this real quick. I had this the other day. What is the half-life of plutonium? We'll call it shelf life. Oh, Pu-239 half-life of 24,100 years. That ain't bad. They'll just go underground for 24,000 years. They'll take a nice little nap, in one of those chambers that helps you sleep endlessly, and then you can wake up a million years later and not have aged a second. What are those things called? Cryogenation chambers or something like that. I'm so pissed off right now, I can't even think straight. And if this stuff doesn't just make your blood boil, then it's whatever you're taking is working really good for you. Now, the construction of the plant started in 1943. Look at this. Here's the early days, the town of Richland, just right down the street. All these guys have a great opportunity to just usurp in all the wonderful plutonium. The B reactor. This is the B reactor at the Hanford nuclear site. That's supposedly no big deal, ladies and gentlemen. You don't got to worry about it. The B reactor at Hanford was the first large-scale plutonium production reactor in the world. It was designed and built by DuPont. Oh, they love us. Based on the experimental design by Enrico Fermi and originally operated at 250 megawatts thermal. The reactor was graphite, moderated and water-cooled. Construction began on the reactor in August of 1943, completed in September of 44. It went critical in September, and overcoming nuclear poisoning produced its first plutonium on November 6, 1944. What a landmark for mankind. Plutonium was produced in the Hanford reactors when a uranium-238 atom in a fuel slug absorbed a neutron to form uranium-239. Then it rapidly undergoes beta decay to form neptunium, which undergoes a second beta decay to create plutonium. Wonderful. How do they even come up with this stuff? It's like, we'll come up with something so deadly that it's got to decay 4 different times before it comes to super deadly stuff. And then we'll give it to everybody. Then we'll give it to the cows for feed. The irradiated fuel slugs were transported by rail to 3 huge remotely operated chemical separation plants. 2 identical reactors, the D reactor and F reactor, came online in December of 44. Now, respectively, they got to throw that word in there, by April of 45, shipments of plutonium were headed to Los Alamos every 5 days. And soon Hanford provided enough material for bombs tested at the Trinity site and dropped over Nagasaki. The Manhattan Project maintained a top-secret classification until news arrived the bomb dropped in Hiroshima. Fewer than 1% of Hanford's workers knew they were working on a nuclear weapon. General Groves noted in memoirs that we made certain that each member of the project thoroughly understood his part in the total effort, that and nothing more. Initially, 6 reactors of piles were proposed when the plutonium was used in the gun-type Thin Man bomb in mid-44. A simple gun-type bomb was found to be impractical for plutonium, and the more advanced fat bomb required less plutonium. Now, decommissioning. Most of the reactors were shut down between 64 and 71. The average individual lifespan of 22 years. Average lifespan of 22 years, with problems on a regular basis, with one of the most deadly elements ever created, plutonium, with a shelf life 1,000 times that. They're fucking brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are just brilliant, let me tell you. And wait till you see the pictures of these deformed babies with half heads. There's almost a 3,000% increase around Hanford, and there's nothing to worry about. Reactor names. Look at this. Look at this. This is where they fed cows radioactive food. Or sheep, I'm sorry. Sheep, cows, whatever. There's the sheep. Gotta love that. But these guys feel good about themselves when they go home to their family. So the B reactor started up in 44, the D reactor in 44, the F reactor in 45, the H reactor in 49. The Doctor replaced the D reactor in 50, then the C reactor in 52, the K reactor in 55, the KE reactor in April of 55, and then the N reactor in 63. And guess what? All these bad boys have been shut down. And now there's nothing to worry about. Here you go. The tunnel collapse. On the morning of May 9th, 2017, a 20-foot section of a 360-foot tunnel caved in. It was used to store contaminated materials and was located next to the plutonium-uranium extraction facility in the 200 East area in the center of the Hanford site. All non-essential personnel were evacuated. Yes. Some 53 truckloads of soil were used to fill in the hole. Okay, you filled in a freaking hole with soil. Wonderful. You don't think there might have been some sabotage involved there? I mean, talk about a perfect soft target for some terrorist or some whack job or some disgruntled employee or for some offshore military interest to hit. Beta test it. See what happens. Oh, how easy was that? And then the government covers it up. And in reality, who knows how much plutonium was released? And another thing, unless you've got specific equipment to test the plutonium, most radiation detectors from the research that I've done don't even pick up on plutonium because it emits a different type of radiation. So, I'm looking at the radiation out here in San Antonio. My watch is picking up 0.12 microsieverts per hour, which is about double what it used to be when I picked this watch up in 2013. It's not high, but it's a lot higher than it used to be. And I just turned on my Digi. It takes a minute to calibrate, so I'll give it a minute. But here's the deal. The plutonium separation process resulted in the release of radioactive isotopes into the air, which were carried by wind throughout the southeastern Washington, into parts of Idaho, Montana, Oregon, the British Columbia. People were exposed to iodine-131 and all sorts of other radioactive isotopes. It entered the food chain via dairy cows, grazing on contaminated fields. Then, a huge release occurred in 49 called the Green Run, where 8,000 curies of iodine over 2 days. Now, the Native Americans and their communities depended on this river, on the fish from the Columbia River, and they got hit the worst. Once again, man. Beginning in the 60s, scientists with the U.S. Public Health Service published reports about radioactivity. Here we go. Since 2003, radioactive materials are known to be leaking from Hanford into the environment. Since 2003, materials are known to be leaking to the public. The highest tritium concentration detected in Riverbank Springs during 2002 was 58,000 PCIL, or 2,100 barbiturals, whatever, per liter at the Hanford town site. The highest iodine 129 concentration of 0.19 PCIL was also found at the Hanford town site spring. The WHO guidelines for radionuclides in drinking water limits levels of iodine 129 at 1 BQL and tritium at 10,000 BQL. Wow. Now they found that these isotopes have been increasing since 94, where a major groundwater plume from the 200 East area intercepts the river. Detected radionuclides include strontium, technetium, iodine, uranium, tritium, and other detected contaminants: arsenic, chromium, chloride, fluoride, nitrate, sulfate. But it's fine, ladies and gentlemen, and just read the troll comments on the previous 2 podcasts that I released. In 87, harmful vapors from radiation from the nuclear storage tanks exposed more than 40 workers. in 2014 alone reported smelling vapors and became ill with nosebleeds, headaches, watery eyes, burning skin, dermatitis, increased heart rate, difficult breathing, coughing, sore throats, dizziness, nausea. Several of these workers have long-term disabilities. Oh, you don't say. Doctors checked workers and cleared them to go back to work. In 2014, OSHA ordered the facility to rehire a contractor and pay $220,000 in back wages for firing them for whistleblowing on safety concerns. Oh yeah, talk about it, you'll get fucking fired. And then you might get lucky enough to come back with cancer and you might get a couple $100,000. On June 25th, 1988, it was divided into 4 areas. There was a major release of radiation in the 70s, which resulted in reactor shutdowns. They're saying the cost of the cleanup, according to the Hanford Life Cycle Scope Schedule, 2014 estimated costs were $113 billion, going up $3 billion a year. Originally scheduled to be completely cleaned up within 30 years, the cleanup was less than half finished in 2008. Yeah, the rest of the world's screwed too. How are you going to clean up the rest of the world? How are you going to clean up somebody that had a child that was born with a half head? How are you going to fix that? You going to give him a couple grand or call him a conspiracy theorist? Leave a nasty comment in the comment section when they talk about it on a forum? Make fun of them? Make you feel good about yourself? I don't know how you guys sleep at night. And if you do, you must have nightmares. Or you just must be one disgusting piece of shit. And this is just unbelievable. Half-life of 24,000 years on a facility that has a building with a 20-year shelf-life, approximately. Welcome to the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Anencephaly is one of the most terrifying and deadly of all human birth defects. This is on naturalnews.com. The disorder occurs during the embryonic stage of growth. Now, fortunately, it's extremely rare. However, in the central part of the state of Washington, where the rate of children born with the disorder is more than 2,500% the national average, it's in the same area that the Hanford site is located and around the vicinity. But you're a conspiracy theorist for bringing that up, ladies and gentlemen. Physicians for Social Responsibility. Hanford is the most contaminated site in the Western Hemisphere. The Hanford Nuclear Reservation is owned by the federal government. 60% of the nation's high-level radioactive waste is located at Hanford. Look at this. What led to the cleanup effort? This is also by PSR.org. By the mid-'80s, the Freedom of Information Act allowed and alerted the public of Hanford documents from the 40s and 50s, showing extremely high levels and dangerous levels of radiation, plutonium production, reactors dumped on a daily average 50,000 curies of radioactive material in the Columbia River, perhaps more. Are you catching my drift? 24,000 year shelf life, nothing to worry about. Tunnels collapsing next to the extraction point, nothing to worry about. Everything's cleaned up. Everything's fine. Okay, here's an illustration of how fine everything is, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. Now, you want to see what the embryo looks like? I'm almost hesitant to show you because I'm so emotional about it right now. I'm literally like one step away from just freaking out. Look at that. How would you like that to be your child? My heart goes out to anybody that's been affected from this anti-life industry. You know, I think about those poor children that were born with small heads from the chemicals, most likely from the chemicals that were sprayed to get rid of the Zika virus. And the media pushed it as being the Zika virus from the mosquitoes that actually caused it, when there's a lot more evidence that points to it actually being the chemicals that sprayed the mosquitoes. And that was their cover story. Now, as long as this stuff goes on, as long as there is a continuation of lies and deceit in industries like this, where people are born like this, and as long as people continue to justify their actions, it's going to be extremely difficult to wake up the masses. You can show them this, they don't care. What do we do as a collective whole to make sure that another child is never born like this again? What do we do? What are you going to do? Question everything. The knowledge is power. The pen is mightier than the sword. The mind is mightier than the pen. Use your heads. Be the change you want to see. Resort, don't you? You buy everything the news packages to you in a beautiful wrapping, beautiful bow tie on the top, beautiful gold bow tie. You open it up. Here it is, plutonium. I can eat it. It's good for me. Now, first of all, the fact that there is a tunnel that collapses around the Hanford nuclear site is unprecedented. That should not happen. Do you realize the Hanford nuclear site extracted thousands and thousands of pounds of uranium and plutonium, and the majority of the plutonium bombs and missiles and weapons out there, the plutonium was extracted. I'll tell you right now. Matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that I come up with is most of the stuff that I come up with outside of the information that I present to you, connecting dots. It's theory. It's hypothesis. It's questions. And if you don't question the status quo, good for you. I've got a beautiful timeshare for sale. I'll sell it to you for half price. You can get it to you at the dealership, okay? It's $50,000 at the dealership. I'll sell it to you for $25,000. It's only $1,000 a year for maintenance fees. You get a whole week a year at that resort if you're lucky enough to get in. Now, yes, you can buy that resort on eBay for $1, but you're so smart, you don't question the status quo. So maybe you should just go to the resort and buy it, because you buy everything else at the resort extracted from the Hanford nuclear site in Washington State. Now, I'm going to share some images with you. I'm also going to read to you what the Hanford site actually is. And then I'm going to share with you some information and pictures showing how, because the military loves us and the world so much, they fed cows radioactive feed just to see what would happen to their thyroids. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, as you can see here, here's an old school picture of the site. Let me read this to you real quick. The Hanford site is mostly decommissioned nuclear production complex operated by the United States federal government on the Rex Bear leak project. The Hanford site is a cover-up of unprecedented proportions, ladies and gentlemen. This is absurd. This is disgusting. This is wrong. And it's getting to the point now where when people leave comments in the comment section saying, "Oh, Rex, you're just a fearmonger. Oh, Rex, this is bullshit. There's nothing wrong at the Hanford nuclear site," I'm going to show you some pictures of babies that are born with half of their head after being exposed to nuclear radiation, okay? And then you leave a comment, and then good luck going to sleep after that when you leave a disgusting comment like you do. Now, I don't have all the Columbia River. On the Columbia River. In the U.S., in the state of Washington, the site has been known by many names: Hanford Project, Hanford Works, Hanford Engineer Works. The site was home to the B reactor, the first full-scale plutonium production reactor in the world. Plutonium manufactured at the site was used in the first nuclear bomb. Tested at the Trinity site, Fat Man, the bomb detonated over Nagasaki, Japan. During the Cold War, the project expanded to include 9 nuclear reactors and 5 large plutonium processing complexes. Oh,